So one of the reasons I brought you on, because this is a back pain podcast, back surgery, that type of stuff. You had a fusion in your neck several years back. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so when I was in Iraq, I was in up in northern Mosul, and we were getting bombed pretty often. I was involved in just a couple tertiary incidents where we were getting banged around in vehicles, and I ended up getting a herniated disc in my neck. We went to try to go get it checked out. I had got all the classic symptoms. It was a C5, C6 herniation, so I lost complete feeling in my left hand. I lost all strength pretty much on my whole left upper side of the body. I couldn't even press, push, do anything. It was pretty scary, actually. Ended up getting medevaced out of country. They tried to do a fusion in Landstuhl, Germany, and I fought it. I knew enough and had seen enough about fusions that I just know I didn't want it. No offense to anybody who's had it. I just knew that there was going to be some range of motion issues for me down the road. So I ended up getting a spinal injection in my neck, which was kind of painful. They bounced it off my spine. I think I had a new surgeon. So I ended up getting medevaced out of the country, and they sent me to a wounded warrior battalion, where again they tried a couple more times to get me to do a fusion. They finally gave me a couple more injections, and I got some relief. And I fought my way out of that whole situation, and ended up going back on that deployment. And I still had like a lot of residual issues. I had a little bit of pain, but I still had like numbness and tingling in my fingers, and my strength was completely diminished. And I lived like that for a couple years. I just really did not want to get a fusion. I had done a bunch of research about actual disc replacements, and I found some literature that they were using them a lot in Europe. And the device that I was looking at hadn't been approved by the FDA, but there had been two special operations guys, I think a Navy SEAL and somebody else that had gotten this type of surgery. And I had done a lot of research. The fusion, from what I could see, was going to be a 6 to 8 month recovery. But I also found a lot of literature that down the road, 5, 6 years, you were going to continue to have to get further fusions because it transfers that pressures down your spine. And so I had made this mental decision that no matter what, I wasn't going to get that. So I started working with the VA, and then there happened to be a local neurosurgeon who had trained with this particular disc, and they were doing some experimental stuff. I wrote my congressman a letter to get this surgery, and the VA ended up paying for it. And man, it was the best decision I ever made. So I ended up getting the surgery, and it was awesome, man. I mean, I think the rehab was minimal. I want to say I was back to work in less than 6 to 8 weeks with 90% range of motion. Because basically they basically just go in the front of your neck, clean everything out, pull your old disc out, put the other one, the disc in, screw it in, and that's it. I mean, you got to heal the scar and probably a little bit of the tissue, but man, in 6 weeks, I think 8 weeks at the most, I really don't remember, but I was back on the street working as a cop and full equipment. So I'm really glad that and I feel bad for the people that maybe don't have the time, or just don't know the research, right? Like, we live in this society of Western medicine where we trust these doctors, and whatever they say we do, good, bad, or indifferent. That's probably a whole nother podcast in and of itself. But yeah, so my fusion went well. I got really lucky.